Chipmunks. I hate the chipmunks.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Krams are here, and we are a little over a week away from Christmas right now. Here in Northern Virginia, we're getting the first snowfall of the year. A couple of days ago, it was like 70 degrees out. So this is the first time that it's really started to feel a little bit like Christmas. And so what better time to discuss Christmas music? We're going to give you some of our favorite and some of our not so favorite Christmas songs.
First snow here in Chicago, too.
We got like 4 inches here in Pennsylvania. Now, before we give our lists, whatever, how do you feel about Christmas music? Do you hate it? Do you like it? Do you just don't care? Here in Pittsburgh, there's a station that plays exclusively Christmas music from, Thanksgiving until the end of the New Year's, and I take it off my presets because I hate it so much. I would like to hear each Christmas song once a year and then never hear them again. But there are some fun Christmas songs, I think, some rock Christmas songs that I have uncovered.
Yeah, it's everywhere, and there's not a large number of songs that you'll hear the same stuff every day, and it just starts to get like a hammer after a while. But in general, I like the spirit of it. I like the festive nature of it. It's good for particular occasions, certainly. But, just if you're going from a gas station to a grocery store to a mall and it's just like, oh, there it is. It starts to drive you crazy.
I'm mostly indifferent to it. I don't really care about it that much. I don't put it on in the house or listen to it. But doing these lists, I found way more songs that I liked than don't like. I've got a lot that I enjoy. Not too many that really bother me that much.
Well, that's good. I decided to cheat a good bit and just go with some Christmas-themed songs, like Christmas by The Who off Tommy. I'm counting it. The song's called Christmas. It's one of my favorite albums of all time. It is about, a poor kid that can't see, talk, and is not aware of it's Christmas, but it is Christmas. So I'm also going to go with Chuck Berry's Run, Run, Rudolph. Just awesome, perfect, Christmas aside, just a great introduction to Chuck Berry and how much fun and upbeat, and his guitar playing is great. I'm also going to go with Mark Kozlek of Red House Painters. He's got a really good, soft, quiet version where he lets his voice, one of my all-time favorite voices, just cut through the thick air like a sharp, chilled knife. And that's Little Drummer Boy, a song I don't really like in any other version, but this version is killer. You can find it on some live bootlegs. I'm going to go with Christmas by Darlene Love. You'd know it if you heard it. It is just called Christmas, but I think it's late 50s, early 60s, but the vocals are just awesome. And then my number one, it doesn't matter who's doing it. It can be a really good singer, a children's choir, whatever. Holy Night, one of the most beautiful songs, I think, for Christmas. It's just the way it lifts and lifts and lifts and then goes fall on your knees. Really gorgeous. Gets me in the feels.
Well, I got some good Christmas tunes here. I left out all of the sort of classical ones, but I think Oh Holy Night is by far the best of that kind of, classic Christmas orchestra, choir, whatever you want to call it. That one does rule. Ever since the first time I remember hearing it is in Home Alone, and it always gets me. It's a very emotional movie. It's some tearjerkers in that movie. I love the church scene. But for moi, I have What Christmas Means to Me by Stevie Wonder. He can make pretty much anything sound good. And I know it's in like every movie, but it's a good tune. I think he rocks it. Same with Santa Claus is Coming to Town by Jackson 5. If you take out the lyrics about Santa, the funky beat, the bass playing, Michael Jackson's voice, Jackson 5's backing him up. It's a really good arrangement of it. And then I always dig hearing it around this time. I I've heard a lot more recently, but I never used to hear it at all. Step Into Christmas by Elton John. It's Elton John. I love him, so he can do whatever he wants. It's not the greatest song in the world, but it's a Christmas song, and it's by Elton John, so it's pretty good. But Father Christmas by the Kinks, and then finally the coup de grace, Christmas Time, Don't Let the Bells End by The Darkness, by far the greatest rock and roll Christmas song ever written. If you haven't heard it before, it's a great song. It just rules.
I forgot how much you used to and maybe still do love The Darkness.
They could pop up on some lists.
All right, my list. Mostly what I want from a Christmas song is to just take me back to my childhood and make me feel like a kid again. So a lot of these are just things that I heard a lot. It's very heavily leaning towards the 80s because that's when I was a kid. So.
But you don't like the 80s.
I like the 80s Christmas music. I've got, first of all, Very Special Christmas. That album, it's a compilation with a bunch of 80s pop stars on it. The whole thing is awesome. Even the artists that I hate, like Sting and U2, are on there, and their stuff on it. For some reason, when I hear anything from that album, it just really takes me back. So I could have picked anything from that.
Wait a minute. When we do U2, is a Christmas song going to show up on your favorite U2 songs?
It's very possible.
Go on.
So I could have picked anything from that album. I'm going to pick Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by the Pretenders. Incredible vocal performance by Chrissie Hynde. And it comes 2 tracks after Do You Hear What I Hear by Whitney Houston. And honestly, I mean, neck and neck for which is the better vocal performance. They're both incredible. I've also got probably the most divisive song that anyone will put on either list. Tons of people hate it. I love it. Simply Having a Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney. I think it's fantastic. Absolutely love it. Never get tired of it. I can play it in July and enjoy it.
Who are you? You can play it in July.
You know I love McCartney.
Yes, you do.
All right. I've also got, this might be kind of a weird one, but Tennessee Christmas by Amy Grant. My dad had that Christmas album. I think it's the last song on it. It's great. 3 Ships by John Anderson, not the country singer, the singer from Yes. He made a sort of synthy Christmas album in the mid-'80s, and it's awesome. The whole thing rolls really good. One of my favorite Christmas albums. If we were doing a list about the albums, that would be on it. And what do I got? 1 or 2 left?
I feel like you got 5 left after some of those choices.
I'm going to go with the version of Little Drummer Boy by Bing Crosby and David Bowie. David Bowie's counter melody is just incredible. I love it, and I love the way his voice sounds on it. So that's my number 1.
Okay, I forgot my actual number 1 because my lists are terribly written down. The number 1 Christmas song of all time is actually Hard Candy Christmas, sung by Dolly Parton, written by Carol Hall for the play Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. But it legitimately is one of the most moving songs I've ever heard. And Dolly Parton almost makes me cry when she sings it. It's really good. So check that out instead of The Darkness, because they're a bunch of jokesters.
I didn't even write down the McCartney song for the songs I hate because I just didn't want to take either of your thunder away. I totally anticipated Jason going, I love Paul McCartney, but I can't forgive him for this. But no. Wow.
Well, that's great.
All right. Songs I hate. This whole album counts. You Make It Feel Like Christmas, or You Make Me Feel Like Christmas, Gwen Stefani. That song in particular, duet with Blake Shelton, her voice, I don't dislike it, but it does not really suit Christmas songs, if you ask me. I'm also going to go with the Chipmunks' Christmas Don't Be Late. Going to go with my boy, Bruce Springsteen, Santa Claus is Coming to Town. I know that might be controversial. I just got in an argument with my friend Howard about, I've told this story in the channel before, but seeing him live in late December one year and coming out for the second encore, so many songs he could have played that he hadn't played yet, and he did Santa Claus Coming to Town. And then I'm going to go with All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah. Not objectively a bad song. She's a good singer, but it's just like, I feel like when I was working back in the day, like one of my first jobs, you just hear it everywhere. It's that song that I just think is everywhere. It's in like every other Target ad or K Jewelers ad and on the mall everywhere. Oh, it's just too much for me. And then my number one that I hate, I'm probably going to get some backlash from Jason in particular for this one. It's got to be Tom Petty, Christmas All Over Again. It's just, I know it's kind of like the chorus might be like intentionally annoying because that's kind of what it's about. It's just like, oh God, it's all over again. But it just makes my ears bleed. Can't stand it.
That's shocking.
There's some shocking picks on already. This is possibly our most controversial listography of all time. Well, speaking of terrible gifts, coal, if you will, Wonderful Christmas Time is a terrible song, and it is on my worst list. Easily on the worst list. Maybe not my worst ever, but it just, oof, that's a rough one for me. Also, on my naughty list, I have Little Drummer Boy by anyone. Song sucks. Do They Know It's Christmas? Live Aid, World Aid, whatever. It's pretty bad how they, I guess the spirit of it is in the right place, but I hate the way it cycles through like everyone's voice. Like everyone has this like one or two words, and it just sounds really weird. And some of the people it's pretty much parody it devolves into. So that one's on my bad list. Santa Baby by anyone, always terrible. Probably one of the worst songs ever written. Christmas Shoes by New Songs. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, where the little kids. I guess it's a Christian rock maybe song. I don't know. I'm not familiar with New Songs as a band, but it's about a little kid trying to buy shoes for his mother's dying of like cancer or something. So it's super hokey and just, I don't know, it's just not good in any way. It's just terrible. It's one of those like written just to be like a tearjerker, and it just poorly written, and the music sucks, and it blows. I hate the Chipmunk song too. It's annoying. Chipmunks, I hate the Chipmunks. Poor Dave, man, having to live with those three little jerks.
I don't mind it. I like the hula hoop part. I also have the Christmas Shoes on my list. It is horrible. It is so bad. It's such a cheap way to write a song, talking about wanting to buy his sick mom's shoes so that she can look good when she meets Jesus. Oof.
I gotta hear this now.
Really bad. There's a video too. I think they made like a Hallmark movie or something. Rob Lowe's in the video. Oh man. So that's definitely on my list. Another song that we talked about on the channel recently on my list, Mistress for Christmas by AC/DC. Terrible. kind of in the same vein as the Christmas Shoes, Same Old Lang Syne by Dan Fogelberg. Now, my dad was a huge Dan Fogelberg fan, and I do really think he's a very, very underrated singer-songwriter, and he's a great guitar player, but this song is so cheesy. And, if there's a fault with Dan Fogelberg, it's that he gets a little overly sentimental at times in his writing, and this is just, a few steps too far. It's about meeting your old flame in the grocery store. Not great. And then a couple that I wasn't really aware of until researching today and just stumbled upon these, and my God, they're awful. There's a cover of Happy Christmas, War is Over, the John Lennon and Yoko Ono song, done by Maroon 5. And that's something that you never want to hear. And also, there's a Christmas song called Shake Up Christmas by Train that is a train wreck. It is terrible.
Yeah. Blank by Train usually is.
So those are my 5.
I'm surprised nobody went with 2,000 Miles, if it qualifies as a Christmas song, which I think we debated a little bit in the Pretenders video.
I have a pretty long list of songs I like. I wrote down maybe 20 or 30, and that's on the long list, as is Christmas All Over Again.
Of ones you like?
Yeah.
Interesting. Brenda Lee's Rocking Around the Christmas Tree was one I thought maybe someone else would have, so I didn't put on there, but that's a great rendition.
What about like the theme songs to the classic Christmas movies? The Grinch, Who Stole Christmas, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, any of those tickle your fancy?
Yeah, Christmas time is here. The Vince Guaraldi stuff is awesome.
I'll go with some deep cuts. Anything off of Muppets Christmas Carol. Love. That's one of my favorites.
I like some of the old crooner stuff. The Christmas Song by Nat King Cole is great. And the big tradition in my family on Thanksgiving, the first Christmas record we played after dinner was always the Johnny Mathis Christmas album, which is really, really solid.
Yeah, I'd say most of the old standards are pretty good. They're nostalgic. Yeah, it's just kind of like the real commercial poppy stuff that's like kind of 80s on gets really irritating to me. Hanson Christmas album, stuff like that. Not some of the best. Oh, as far as just pure songs to 12 Days of Christmas, just what is prog rock doing in a Christmas song? We don't need these epic storytelling fantasies in our Christmas music, so it doesn't work for me.
Maybe if John Anderson sang it, it would work a little better.
Yeah, and Phil Collins on drums, right, Joe?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. So let us know your favorites and least favorites down in the comments. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell for notifications. Check down in the description for links to all of our social media accounts. And have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We will see you on Christmas Day with our favorite albums of the year. And thanks for watching.